So, hello everyone. So ever since we adopted Agile at bol.com, we never missed a deadline again, as you all know. So how can you extend this to a presentation? Here to talk to you about it is Evelyn, so please welcome her.
Thank you. That is what my story is about. And this is me. I'm Evelyn, I'm a product owner. I'm also the project lead for the checkout revamp. We're building a new checkout, it's really cool. And also at home, I'm steering the boat. And what am I here to tell you? This is really true. What I'm here to tell you is how to build your presentation in an iterative way. And this is helpful if you are not a very experienced speaker or if the stakes are really high. And I started doing this because I really like making things look pretty. So I would make my presentations beautiful, and then I would make sure that whenever you click from one slide to the next, the header is in the same height so that it doesn't jump. And I could spend hours on this, only to find out later that half of it needs to be thrown out anyway because the story wasn't quite right yet. So then I thought, how can I do this smarter? And I'm going to tell you about 3 iterations that are with as little as waste as possible and that get your message across. And the first iteration is a really fun one, I think. For this, you need a conceptually strong friend. And you guys are IT, so this cannot be hard. Then you're going to go with this friend through your story. What do you want to tell? But also to the message that is behind this. So you're going to talk through the words that you're going to use, but you're also going to define with what kind of feeling or thought do you want the audience to walk out of the room later. Do you want them to think, oh my God, they are so busy, we really need to help them? Or, what an inspiring project, I wish I was a part of this. Or, they got it handled, we don't need to worry about this, they're okay. So define what kind of message you want to get across. Then also, do this on Post-its, because with that, it's easy to switch around. For example, you can say, on the first slide, you can say, this is, we made a plan, then slide B can be, these are the steps we took, and slide C can be, this is the result. But what if you switch it around? If you say, we got to this awesome result by making this plan and doing these things. Or maybe it's even more powerful and getting your message across better if you say, this is the result because of these steps. Or why not even only show the result? So I've done this. I have a couple of conceptually strong friends. One of them is Arin. And we made a lot of drawings here on a whiteboard, and we found out this is not perfect because you keep wiping and you keep redrawing. And we did it with Post-its, and this was nice, because then we could switch the order and we could really try stuff out. Then we had a second iteration. I invited a different group of people for this, but first I created my slides. Because I knew I wanted to do this in PowerPoint. You don't have to do it in PowerPoint. There are all kinds of other ways that are nicer, but I needed to make a slideshow for Huub and Margaret and Yuri, and they want to pre-read. So then I thought, okay, PowerPoint. And I created it in black and white. One Post-it became one slide, and just to measure, one slide is about a minute. And I rehearsed it. I did a dry run with a group of friends, and then I also asked, because the board of directors, I couldn't ask them for the dry run, but I could ask a director. So Marcel van Leeuwen was there, and he gave a lot of feedback because he knows how people think in the board of directors. For this specific talk, I also rehearsed my talk, and I made sure that there was an IT guy in there, because you guys are IT. And I checked whether the message that I wanted to get across actually came across. And it did, so that was good. And this was what it looked like. The only slide that is a bit fancy is the first one, but that is because I stole it from Margaret from Inspiration Day, and I just put it in there. And the rest is just really ugly, and it should be. And Marcel was a bit worried in the beginning, but I put him at ease and said, don't worry, it's going to be nice. So it's ugly and empty, and that's on purpose. And I made sure that my story is right, and that the words are right, and that there are not words in there that trigger the board of directors or that mean something else to someone else. For this specific talk, I rehearsed it, and I got a sketch note as feedback. So I could very easily check if the structure of my talk would come across. So if you have a friend who can sketch note, that's also really nice. Because if someone makes a sketch note and you really think, this is not what I said, then that's your fault as a presenter and not the fault of the sketchnoter, because then you should have had a clearer structure. And then the third iteration. This is the most fun part. This is where you can lose yourself, but don't. Only add images and illustrations and transitions and fancy things that support your story. So if you want to know where you can find them, on Flickr you can find images that are with Creative Commons licenses, so you can use them also for commercial purposes if you have those specific licenses. Unsplash is a really good website for this also, and the most fun part is to draw them yourself, and if you need inspiration you can find it on the Noun project. And I find that that's really quick, because you can draw something and put it in your presentation versus searching for an image that is not quite right, but maybe if I cut it, or I prefer to draw because it's quick. Then find a spelling Nazi. You are IT, so you're known to, if there's a bug, it's probably a spelling mistake somewhere. So you know how to find them. Find someone who puts salt on every snail. I have no idea if that's an English expression, but there's a snail. And make them tear your work apart, because if they do, it becomes better. And then keep it simple, but also don't be scared to impress. It's okay to impress if that gets your message across. So this is what my slide deck looked like in iteration 3. There were all kinds of images and things that moved just so that I could get my story across better. And this is an animation that I made to impress Huub and Yuri and Margaret, to tell them what a great team we have and how we have it under control, how they don't need to worry, we're building this checkout. And then you have been practicing so much, you have been going over this and over this and over this, so you know it. So all you have to do is stand there and enjoy it. And that's my talk. Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
I've been using a similar way of iterating on my presentations. And one of the problems that I had is after a while, after 3 or so iterations, you get bored.
Yes.
Because you've been talking about the same thing in similar circumstances for so many times, like, okay, you lose your energy. Do you have any tips to avoid that?
Don't go over 3. So only have 3 iterations. And also, I think you need to make sure that your deadline, when you actually have to present it, is a bit close, which works for me because I work great under stress. So that you don't have so much time to really get bored by what you're going to talk about. But then I talk about the same stuff all the time because I really like it. So maybe this is just for me and not so much for you. I don't know.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else?
How do you get the drawings in the presentation?
He asked how I get the drawings in the presentation, for the people who couldn't hear it over there. I draw on an iPad, and then I do that in, I think it's called Sketches Pro, and I remove the background image, and then I send it via Bluetooth to my phone, and then I email it to my work computer, and then I put it in. But still, that is quicker than searching it on Google or on Flickr. Yeah. Thank you very much.